We're on. Welcome to Content Made Simple.
Take two?
Take two. Or take three, I don't know. It's a lot at this point, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well, Eric, so what are we doing here again?
Well, we're trying to make a content management system, I think,
We are, yeah.
in Clojure, and we're trying to do, I guess, as little as possible to get stuff done. Um,
Yeah.
and I think also we're trying to defer a lot of the decisions that a lot of people would start with.
Mm,
Um,
mm.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think you can look at systems like Ruby and Spring Ruby on Rails and Spring Boot and all those kind of system in a box type frameworks that you can roll out and start things. And I mean, it's system in a box, but it's sort of magic in a box, And I think what we want to say is like with a language like Clojure, there is, I mean, there's the magic of the internet, I suppose. Um, but in terms of doing what you want to do on the internet, you can express yourself in fairly short order, in a fairly straightforward way, without having a lot of hidden magic in the background. Um, and I think that's really the goal, isn't it? And then to try and keep everything as sort of simple but like workable and sort of sustainable as possible without complicating things or without adding as much dependencies or technology, and try and keep as much as possible in the application, which I think would be really nice, rather than sort of thinking about software as code, infrastructure as code or whatever. Just think, what can I do if I want to deploy to my cloud server? What can I do to make that happen in a minimal kind of way? And I think you were doing what you've been doing before is like this live REPL, which I think is really really cool.
Yeah, it's a somewhat unorthodox approach. I mean, when you work at a closure shop as we do, I don't know about you, but we do have a very limited access prod REPL
Yeah, yeah,
in our application, and it is very convenient at times to go in and look at stuff or do some diagnosis on the running system. Um, but of course, when you talk to normal people about this, they balk and they say, "Oh my God, you have a like you can change everything on the fly," and yes, we can. And but that's not all that different from, if you have a SQL REPL, or I wouldn't call it perhaps a REPL, but if you have access to your database,
yeah,
your
yeah,
production
definitely.
database, it's basically the same thing.
Yeah, completely agree with that. Yeah. Also, I think it's like, I mean, what we're doing here is we're just making sure that we can get connection out to our box, that everything is kind of working. Because we're talking about like deferring decisions, but to me, that's like an important decision we don't want to defer, because we want to be able to serve this content tomorrow. Although we're doing the minimal amount of work, we want to kind of get it out into the world on it as soon as possible. So a lot of these people talk about kind of like uh, minimum viable product and like getting things out, and it can take 3 months to get a minimum viable product, and we want to say we can do this in 30 minutes. I mean,
Yeah.
it really is super minimal, but it kind of, maybe it's more than 30 minutes, but not much more. Um, so yeah, so we give it a start. Should we give it a try?
Yeah, I just wanted to also like pick up on a little bit on that, is
Yeah,
that a
sure.
very important bit of a software project for me is like the start. It is getting something from your computer onto the computer that is going to show this to the world, right? So
Yeah,
normally I would probably start out with like a build pipeline so that you have the whole thing so that you can
mm,
deploy. You commit some stuff to GitHub and then it pulls out, or it kicks off a testing job and then a deployment job, and it deploys it to the server on the other end. But a little bit inspired, I guess, both by Eric Norman and Jacob O'Brien, who does BIF. Um, we're just gonna skip all of that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I think we're going. I think there's no harm in like getting there in the end. Once things start to settle down, I think having a kind of reliable thing that makes sure you're not deploying nonsense to production
Oh
is
yeah.
good. But we're kind of like happy to deploy nonsense to production at this point. It's like
And I think that's another thing that's often overlooked is the difference between deployment and release.
Hmm.
So it's very often nice just to get the code out into production, but that doesn't mean that it has to be visible to everyone, right? You can hide it behind a feature toggle, you can hide it behind some URL that people don't know about, and there's tons of way of getting code out so you can exercise it, but others cannot. Right now, we're just going to go and publish some stuff under a random IP. And we don't care too much.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Let's do it. Let's start. Yeah.
Okay.
So you're going to do some screen sharing, and we're just going to build it up from pretty much nothing to at least having a little video. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the goal. Because the goal is that we will put this video. We're doing this video live on YouTube, but we'll also make our own system for hosting the videos, and then eventually we'll drop the master host and just come to us.
Yeah. So, like, where are we at? We have set up a server, this one here at this IP address. And that server has a Squid proxy running on it. And the reason we have a Squid proxy running on it is that normal user space processes are not allowed to connect to ports underneath port 1000, but HTTP is served over 80. So we need a proxy from 80, which is what Squid is listening to, down to our process, which will be listening at port 3000. So I've already set that up. And let's just see that there's nothing there right now. What we also done is that I've SSH'd into this box, and I've done that with port forwarding. So what I'm doing is that I'm forwarding port 555, which you see here, from this instance onto my local host. And I've also written this very, very short script. It's called runREPL.sh, which basically just runs the closure process with an nREPL, which is listening on port 555. So that's where we're going to start. And the other thing that we have already done is that on the local machine or on the instance on the internet, I've made this deps.even. And the only thing that it contains is the various paths that I sort of foresee that we're going to be using and the version of closure that we want. Everything else, nothing else for right now. So I figured we can start the closure REPL. And that's started. I'll go to my local version of the deps.even and I'll connect to that on that port. And now we have, like on my local Emacs here, I have my I have a REPL up and running. And it's working.
Yeah.
So that's sort of step one. We have a process running on our instance. It's not doing anything, but we can communicate with it over REPL.
Yeah, over SSH it is, isn't it? So it's a tunneled
Yeah.
SSH connection to this REPL on the machine. It's quite magical, I think, in many ways. But yeah, that's magic you can get. You can get that magic anywhere, but you can't get that REPL anywhere.
This is true. So now we have a file, like a namespace, main.clj,
Yeah.
in our CMS 0. And I guess we
By
could
the way,
do,
why do you? I mean, I know it's kind of like traditional to call things main, but do we want to be countercultural and call it
oh,
something else?
I don't want to be
Because
countercultural
the
right
reason I
now.
say is because I think main is kind of like what should we say? To me, it's like the floppy disk of the sort of 70s. You have to explain what it means. Like main is a sort of like what are they? Maybe they call it the main branch now, don't they? Actually,
Yeah,
in
they do. They
GitHub.
do.
Yeah,
We could have called it core. We could have called it whatever. That's also an interesting aspect of this exercise that we're doing today, I think, is that
yeah,
um, we've sort of dove right into this. We haven't yet started to discuss file system layout, like where do
yeah.
we put our things? It's like no, we just create a namespace and we just start hacking. And the reason why I'm doing this is that from experience, um, like the first couple of days, you're well below 1,000 lines of code, and
Hmm,
it's not really a lot to deal with 1,000 lines of code in one file.
hmm, hmm. Yeah, I completely agree. Uh, it would be ideal if we could keep it under a few hundred lines. Then we can like I like to have like one or two buffers, one or two screens worth of stuff that you can like keep in your head as a kind of something else we were talking about, wasn't it? About trying to because when you're going to be looking at this code on a sort of infrequent basis, so it would be nice to have like it pretty straightforward to read and to look at.
Yeah,
Anyway,
yeah,
yeah,
that's
let's leave main for the moment. We'll bike shed the shit out of that later. Okay.
yep. So we see now I can write some code here and I can eval it, and then it ends up in my REPL buffer on the side here, which is really nice.
Yeah.
A really neat thing that's come with Closure 112, you might have seen that that was what we were having in the deps.eden, is this feature called sync deps. And I figured we could use that because it's quite neat. So I'll find my deps.eden, which is on the instance in the cloud. And notice this is, of course, the one true editor, and the one true editor lets you edit files remotely over SSH, which is kind of nice. Can you do that with your inferior stuff?
Probably not. Yeah.
Probably not. No, I figured. So the one dep that we really need to get going is Ring. Um, Ring is a Clojure web applications library inspired by blah blah blah. Basically, what it does is that it gives you an HTTP server, and that server takes an HTTP request and makes it into a Clojure map for you. Um, and we are going to not use Ring core because we're just going to use, as it says here, ring. So, and we can just add that here. Come on, boink. And then we say ring. We save it. We go back to our main and we can make a rich comment. And we can say, so now we've required this functionality or the namespace, which holds the functionality that lets you sync the deps. And then we can say deps, sync deps. And now
Nice.
we should have, you see down here, you can see that my REPL is working. Um, and it should now be loading all the stuff that is ring into our running process.
So that's doing the dependency resolution on the server.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
nice.
And this is also neat, right? Because we had this deps.eden where we hadn't really figured out all the dependencies that we needed to get our project running. But we could now just install a new one and we didn't have to restart our REPL to do that. Like imagine this in Java where you have your Maven and blah, 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 and you restart and it's it's just tiring.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. The other nice thing about that, of course, is that when we do start to add this ring code, we'll be able to see the results of it straight away on the production server, which is nice.
Yeah, yeah. So we got ring. We need to require the namespace here as well. It's the Jetty adapter that we will be using.
Yeah. The glorious Jetty adapter. Yeah.
The glorious Jetty adapter. It comes with a foot gun, and let's see if we can manage to avoid the foot gun today. Um,
I've got a feeling like Jetty itself is just an amazing piece of software. So I feel
yeah,
like like the wrapper of Jetty has a foot gun, I would say.
yeah. So what I'm writing here, so we can see down in my mini buffer here, it says that run Jetty takes a handler and some options. A handler is
Hmm.
just a function that takes a request and returns a response,
Yep.
right? And then this is a fancy way of the constantly thing is a fancy way of making a function that always returns the same thing, which is here, it's a response, basically a body that says hello, Ray. Um, and we are here and we want to have this, let's see, wink, wink. We want this to be running on port 3000 because that's how I set up the squid.
Hmm.
And then Ray, what do we want here?
Now we want join question mark,
Question mark,
uh,
and that should be,
and that should be false.
yeah. Why do we need
Because
that?
if you remember, we would talk about this before. It's like confusing, but I think it's that if you join, if your process, if this server, if we join this server, and that's the default, by the way, then this server won't return. It won't come back to us. So our REPL will be stuck. And if we say false, then it will work in the background. And so when you def this server, you will get back the reference to that server. And that's really nice for then you
Yeah.
can stop and start that server at will.
But
So yeah,
then I
so
guess,
we did. But the thing we did before was we forgot the question mark, and yeah. I think you were saying when we did a dress rehearsal that these are the kind of things you don't do every 5 minutes because typically projects have been set up and someone's done this before and they've hit that foot gun and they've fixed it a year ago or 6 months ago or whatever it was. Um, so yeah, so the thing is that in Clojure, typically where you have these booleans, even in keywords, you have a question mark afterwards, and that's a bit different. Um, and you can get caught out with it even if you're a bit of an experienced programmer like we are. So yeah, so just be aware of that. That when you name things, it's good to name things with question marks, but it's also a little bit of a thing to get caught out on if you're not careful.
yeah. And I guess if you're doing this at home, kids, and you start up your Jetty server and it does and your REPL freezes, it is most likely because you forgot the join false option.
Yeah,
Good. Let's go
I
ahead and
feel
do
like we
that.
should start pronouncing it join,
Yes.
join.
Yes. So I evaluated that and let's hope that this works because I wanted to and it didn't.
Ah,
What did we do wrong this time?
I know. It's like, there's always something.
Yep, that's interesting. And then, of course, what did our friend say? Einstein.
If you keep
Ah,
on
here
doing
we
the
go.
same thing and again, you've got a cache on again, haven't you? Or someone's got a cache on here.
There is a cache
That's
here
what it
somewhere.
is.
Yeah.
You know, if you open up the web tools on Chrome, is this Chrome that you're using or
It's
Safari or
Safari,
something?
of course.
So
I'm such a
but if you go to preferences, you can go to the web tools and then you can turn off the caching, which is a good thing to do when you're doing this kind of stuff.
yeah, but it's actually giving us something different here. Okay, let's do like
The
this.
question mark is a funny one though, isn't it? Because that's like the beginning of something. It's like it's interpreted specially question mark, I think.
Maybe I just did this. Ah, let's see. No.
Okay, so if you print server now, what do you get?
Yep.
Nil. That's not right.
No. It's good.
Oh,
It
okay,
got
it's
here.
on this side, yeah.
Ah, here we go.
Yay!
Now,
Okay, so
hey,
yeah,
yes, good.
you hadn't
So,
evaluated it or something.
or something.
Yeah, okay. All good, all good.
All good, all good. Now, and if we stop the server, we stopped it, and I'm still not really confident here. And then we're back to errors. Now we're good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still feel
Now,
like you should. I know you're avoiding me. You're avoiding me telling you to open these web tools, but yeah, why not? Because we're going to look at this stuff soon enough.
yeah.
And I think if you your little thing at the bottom right here, with the little arrows that go to the right on the
Uh,
tabs, there's a bunch of tabs. There's some extra thing. Oh, there we are. Disable caches. Okay, there we go. Good.
yeah. But I think it's actually the squid that's doing the caching for us.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Anyways, so this is sort of a proof of concept. We stopped it now. And it's nice to be able to say hello, Ray, but we would like to do something else.
Yes.
And what we normally do is that we take this stuff and we create a function of it instead. Let's not. So, and we know that it takes a request and we can call that req as a parameter and we can return just for fun.
Mm-hmm. Bit of variety.
Yep. And then we can say like this. And the reason that I'm doing the hash quote, that is a var quote, and that has to do with how vars and functions work together in Clojure. So if I don't add the var quote, we won't be able to redefine the handler in such a way that Jetty picks it up. I think that's hand wavy enough for now, at least from my
Yeah.
side.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We want to be able to change this function and then essentially just reevaluate that one function rather than reevaluate the whole namespace and
Yeah,
restop
and
this
also
and stop the
without
server
restarting
and
Jetty
start
all
the
the time.
server and all. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And while we're at it, we might also do this. So we have that as a function. And
Excuse me.
So that one, we evaluate that one, and we should be able to do like this. And now we have hello Eric.
Very good. Very good. We've cancelled Ray at this point.
Yes, yes, we canceled him. So now this is like I kind of I can marvel at this all day. We now have a for all intents and purposes, we have 11 lines of code. If you're like really smart about it, we have 19. And we have a functional web app up and running, and we haven't restarted our REPL yet.
Yeah, this is really cool. I mean, this is nice. I mean, I think this is like especially the depth sync stuff. This is the dream of making these things alive.
Yep.
We'll. I think eventually it will be quite nice to be able to run all these things through the Git actions and all this kind of stuff. But doing this kind of stuff live on production is also really nice. And we're not going to stop doing that, by the way. So don't ask us to. We're just going to keep doing that forever.
Yep.
Okay. Because
I mean, it's sort of the only thing, only facility really that's lacking is from Common Lisp or even from Smalltalk, you could dump images, because the problem now is if the closure REPL dies on our instance,
yeah,
when we restart it, it just is empty because we're not able to dump an image and say that start from here.
yes, that's right. Yeah. I mean, I think let's not get sidetracked into that, because I feel like this is something which we could potentially look into, but okay, because we are eventually going to be using atoms for all kinds of fun things, so that's also something that's interesting. Bling bling bing bang bong. So here we are. We've got all this nice stuff working. Now we wanted to be able to upload this video that we're recording now. We're streaming it on YouTube and we're recording it locally. And we want eventually to be able to put that video on this server. So it would be quite nice to be able to, I think you have a pre-baked movie, Eric, of you falling over on a lake somewhere.
Yes, this is it's actually in the ocean, not on a
Okay,
lake.
fancy.
Yeah, and I think this is
I
also
should have qualified that with a body of water, you know.
a body of water. Yes. I think this is also sort of in this agile, trying to do as little as possible to sort of provide some value. The value that the CMS is bringing for now is to be able to show some content. So we're not spending a lot of time making the back office for this.
Yeah,
We'll start
exactly.
out
Yeah.
by, let's imagine that we had already uploaded a video, which we have, which I SCP'd over to the server, and let's see if we can show that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's not going to be transporting video stuff around is not going to be our biggest problem. I think it's going to be finding it and getting it back, and that's always the problem. So obviously, day 2 we'll be looking at uploading it via this thing and having users and having users be able to control their own content. We know there is this sort of stuff work to be done, but at the end of the day, fundamentally, a content management system lets you upload stuff and then view it. So that's basically what we need to do first.
Yep. So Ring comes with some utils, and since we chose to depend on Ring, we get some of those, and there's definitely some utils for creating responses.
Yep.
And one of those is you can go into the REPL here, and now we can say I switched namespace for the REPL, so we're in the same as the text as as the code here. So
Mm.
we can now say response, and this is basically what we're giving back, right? And
Yeah.
lo and behold, this is all just data.
Yeah, yeah. And then something in the magic of this, there is a little bit of magic in the sense that there's an interaction between this data and then the Jetty server that Ring will magic that into some meaningful Java code or
Yeah,
whatever that it uses. So
yeah.
yeah, great stuff. This is really nice. Yeah.
And you could also argue that like the response slash response function is just some sugar over map creation. There is really
Yeah, yeah.
nothing in
Mm.
it.
Yeah. Well, the nice thing about this is that the nice thing about having data like this to me is that you can, if you want to have some changes, you can just ASOC things. You know, you can just change the map basically as you go along. You know, if there's some small thing that Ring doesn't have that you want, you can just ad hoc add something to that map before it goes out. You know, which is really the power of these things, isn't it? You know.
So we could do something like this and say response, right?
Sure. Yeah.
And then we could say that the handler of nil is just like this is all a handler is. It's a function that takes in a request and returns a response.
Yeah.
I it like
So it doesn't matter
it's
what a request is, whether it's empty or complete. We're going to ignore the request for the moment and just always return this thing.
yeah. But I think it's like um this is so trivial, but at the same time it's so important that this is nothing. It is just maps. There is no classes. There is like it's just maps, which is really cool.
Yeah,
Um,
it's just a bit of data that you want
yeah.
to. The nice thing is, like I say, you can futz with it. That's the power of this stuff, fundamentally.
Or we can do H1. So we can put some HTML in this, right?
I mean, it
And
might
then
be
our
good.
handler
Yeah.
looks like this. And we can reload over here. And that's kind of perhaps not expected.
Well, I think it thinks that your content type is text by default. I think that's or text plain
Yeah,
by default.
exactly.
That's what it is, isn't it? Yeah.
So Ring comes with some facilities here as
Plain text.
well.
Right.
And then we get basically what it does is it does an associate in headers content type and sets a text HTML on it.
Mm-hmm.
And we evaluated that and
Hey, presto.
then it's HTML.
One of the things that would be nice, by the way, Eric, and we're gonna sort of add the video to this, but it would be nice to say that this is episode 1, and then a link to the video, for example. But
We'll
we'll
get
come to
there
that
and
later. We'll come to that
yeah,
later. Yeah.
yeah. So it would be interesting now to see if we could get a hold of this video,
Yeah.
right? So again, Ring has some facilities. File response, and it takes a path and serves it.
Hmm.
Okay. And I seem to remember that this is under resources public, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And this isn't it's not text HTML, it is
I think it's a
media
video quick
type.
time, not media. I
Yeah.
think it's video. Yeah.
Is it video?
Video.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
I'll have to trust you.
There's
Okay,
the man.
let's
Believe me.
just see what this does. So basically now we have, again, we called the handler and we see that there's some more headers. It's 26 something big. It was last modified at some point.
Hmm.
And the body is now a file, which will then be made into an input stream and some stuff.
So let's see what happens. Yeah.
Nothing.
Did you reevaluate the thing?
I believe I did.
Yeah, you
Yes, I
must have done
did.
actually, because that's why the thing worked. Yeah.
There we go.
No
What have we done?
implementation.
Eh? That's because we don't want to have response there.
Oh, we've already got the response. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
there we go.
Wow.
And
It's
let's,
automatically popped you out, Eric. Yeah.
I know. Here we go.
Whoops.
Falling
There we
over.
go. Nice.
And then we got the very slow. It was not a windy day this day.
Turning around and you can do it. Yes.
Ah,
Good, good,
yes.
good. Very, very, very fancy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. This is great. I mean, the fact that you can, that we've uploaded this video, and now the fact that they can display it in 2 lines of code is phenomenal, I think.
Yeah. And we haven't thought too much about which routing library to use yet, I think.
We're not thinking about anything yet, are we?
No, we're just thinking about one thing, which is getting that video up into the browser.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, what we said about routing libraries was that routers are just ways of like doing if then else on a, if you want to get really basic about it, it's like if then else or regular expressions on URLs that get handed into the server. So we can start super basic and just use, if then else, or we can use cond or something like that. And then we can get fancier as we need to. I think that's the
Yep.
way that we were gonna. That, if I remember rightly, that's what we agreed
That's what we
in
agreed.
our
So,
sort of the most basic of all web servers.
yeah, let's work a little bit with this and see if we can get to the point where we list out the videos.
Yeah,
So what I would like to do is I'll preemptively just extract this into a function. Let's call that. hmm, I hate naming things is really hard.
is that a Norwegian word? Is it
No,
leaf?
I think it's yes. I think it's Norwenglish for give content.
Okay.
Yeah. And
One of the things that I like to do with like this kind of stuff is like have a little arrow content, which is a
we
kind
can do
of way
that.
of saying, produce content.
Yeah, good. So we have that one and we have that one. Now, what would be nice is if we could do a little bit of HTML.
Sure.
Yeah. And
Now the thing, I mean, I'm kind of there are certain things that I think are very horrible, and I think stringed HTML is one of those truly horrible things. So could we hiccup it since we've how long have we got? We've got another 15 minutes.
yeah,
How are you doing for time, Eric?
I'm doing totally fine for time.
Yeah.
I was actually going to insist that we did this just in strings and
Okay. Okay.
the
If you insist, then okay. Well, who am I to argue against it? We do it first of
because
all in strings, but it's just total pain, in my opinion, for no good
Yeah,
reason.
I sort of wanted that to be a principle of this thing is that we
Uh,
explore, without external libraries until that
okay,
becomes a total pain.
okay. I mean, fine. Like,
And it will be a total pain.
yeah. I
I
mean,
promise you.
okay. Let's demonstrate the pain. Okay, a little bit of
Yeah.
self-flagellation on the internet. Okay.
Yes. So what we'll have here is we'll take the string like this and body,
I mean, it's already
and then
hurting. It is already hurting, to be honest.
it's hurting a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Video src equals, and now it's going to hurt even more because I
Oh,
have to
good.
start escaping.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and I'm going to say that this is going to be content one. And then I'm going to say controls equals true,
Then you've got your
right?
slash video.
I can actually do like that because
It doesn't.
I think it's,
It gives you an error in the web. It doesn't give you an error on the HTML is very nice, but
yeah, let's put it like this.
yeah.
And then we have to have this as a response.
Okay.
And we have to say that it's,
So
right?
this is a
And
tricky one because you're going to content now.
yep, we're going to have to implement an if test, I think.
The what?
We're going to have to make a router now. But let's see what show content looks like. Basically, it looks like this.
Yeah.
And we will be looking at the URI of this thing. What are we saying here? We're saying if content one equals our URI, that's when we're going to do to content,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And then
Otherwise, I guess.
else, we're going to do show content.
Yeah. And then you've got this like content one embedded in the source, which is very, very horrible, but okay, it
Yeah,
works.
but I mean,
It's
when I couldn't be bothered doing
no,
the
no, no, it's
string
fine. Yeah,
blah blah.
yeah.
So we'll evaluate that, and then let's see what happens.
Well,
I
we get the
think we
video
just made
back.
it.
Then you have
Yeah,
to press play. Yeah, and
yeah,
off you go.
and we have controls,
Yeah.
and we can. Oh, that's actually me trying a thing that's called a flocka, which is a jumping version of this slowy thing that you see here.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Well, very good. Very good stuff. It's a lot
Um,
harder than implementing a web server in Clojure, that's for sure. I can see that.
yes, it is.
Although
It is a bit hard.
we did have a little fall in the ocean a bit earlier on, but so it's very much art imitating life here.
Good, good, good. And then let's make another one. You see my mastery of the English language here?
Pardon me.
Contents.
Oh yeah, it's
List
really good. Yeah.
contents because it's plural.
Okay.
Yeah. Um,
Well, why are you making it plural though? Because it's not a contents management server.
this is interesting. Maybe it isn't plural then. Anyways, So what I would like to have here is I don't want to have, ooh, I don't want to have videos in this, but I would like to have an unordered list
Yeah,
with a list item in it, and that would be first video, which we end with an li, and we end with um,
slash UL.
meep
Yeah,
ul,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
But we want the first video to be an href equals, and then this. And then what we want to have there is show content one, right?
Just content one, I think, is what you want.
Um, no, I don't want content one because I want this one. I think
Oh,
I'm
I
right.
see. So you're going to change the cond.
Yes,
Okay.
exactly.
Okay, you're ahead of me now. You're you're too
Yeah,
fast.
I'm
Yeah.
doing too many things. I agree.
You're doing things without telling me what you're doing as well, which is very naughty. Yeah.
I know. So if we do something, or like the fallback case now is to show the list of contents.
Okay.
And if it so happens that the URI is show content one, then then we're going to do show content.
Okay, this is perfect. Yeah. Okay.
And let's then go to here. I guess we can go there. Our
First
first
video. There
video,
it is.
and there it is.
Nice. It's funny how it changed. Did it? Does it? Is it kind of different though?
No, it was just me zooming in.
Oh, I see. Okay,
Yeah.
I see. Yeah. Okay. Fine. Oh yeah, because you zoomed in the text. Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah. 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 So
So,
maybe we wrap this in a H1 or something just to stop that zooming requirement. But okay, this is great. It works. We've got a
yeah,
list. Basically, I think I think in terms of like MVP, we're here, aren't we?
we are.
Yeah. I think definitely next time this horrible pain of these inline stringed HTMLs have got to go. You know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Uh,
And definitely because what we're going to have to do next time, I think, is there's one can notice some what's the thing you shouldn't have, like the magic numbers and stuff.
yeah. Yeah.
Like this system only serves one video. So we're
Yeah.
going to get a problem if we get to two videos ever.
Well, we can probably scale to two, like kind of lambda calculus styley. Just to add another one. So I think we can probably get there, but when we get to three, we're going to do something. Yeah, but
Yeah.
yeah, we need to do some identification. That's for sure. Yeah, yeah,
Well, I think next time would be a good time to introduce Hiccup, which is like a data DSL for writing HTML, which makes then
yeah,
all of this so much less painful.
yeah.
And we can also introduce some sort of storage. It will not be a database,
No,
but I think that will be it for next time.
yeah. Now, I think I'm going to just give me a second. I'm just going to stop the stream here.
Two
And
seconds. I would like to do
oh yeah,
one
okay.
one
Let's
thing.
do a little wrap up first. We'll stop the screen sharing, have a little chat, and wrap up the stream. Yeah.
Yeah, I just figured we could commit whatever we had here.
Oh yeah, 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 for sure. Yeah.
We
I figure
forgot.
people don't really need to watch that though too much because that's
That's fair. That's fair.
There's no magic happening there, is there? You know.
Good.
Um, yeah. So maybe
Let
we should
me.
just have a quick recap of like conclusions, that kind of stuff. You know, I think the main thing is that we got the server working in about 10 lines of code, and people. I remember there was this Ruby on Rails thing that got Ruby on Rails very famous, which was um, DHH. I can't remember his name. Doing
Annemeyer
some
Hansen.
Yeah, and he was doing something in like a blog in 15 minutes,
Yep.
um, which is great, but it took him about a couple of years to write the thing which made a blog in 15 minutes,
Yep.
and I think that's a cheat basically. Um, and what we've shown here is that you can write your own beginnings of a blog in 15 minutes. And
Yep.
we'll show that like in pretty short order you can get quite a lot more stuff done in like units of 15 to 30 minutes. Um,
Yep.
and you can do that without a lot of, you don't have to go off and when things go wrong, read a book or like search the web to find out why things are going wrong. You know, you can just look at it and work it out yourself because you know what you're doing.
Yep.
There's very little magic here. I personally, I'm super happy about that. And if I'm going to have a little knock at the closure world a little bit as well, is I feel like in the recent years, partly because we've got a lot more facilities in closure now, it's a bit more of a mature language and more frameworks and stuff. So I feel like as a beginner, people are often just pushing together a bunch of frameworks and not doing this approach. So I think it's kind of valuable to have a bare bones couple of sessions like this and to have a server and a sort of project where, as you say, that's part of the principled approach, which is like very lo-fi in every possible sense.
Yep.
So do you have any like closing thoughts, Eric, about this?
No, it's just that, as I said to my colleague Sindre today, I showed him some of our earlier takes or some of the earlier code, which is basically this code here. And if you look at what I've typed out, it's like embarrassingly simple.
Hmm.
And, but it's also, in a way, quite profound because, like, we've only worked with very simple, basic data structures.
Hmm.
There's absolutely almost no magic here from the code that I write. There's nothing in this code that is complicated. It's trivial and that's like the beauty of it.
Yeah. All right, cool.
Yep.
Let's leave it on a high then. I'm going to end the stream, and we'll see you next week.
Yep.